Hi, welcome to Fresh Off the Box, where we bring you the freshest interviews on the web. I'm Bobby, and today our guest is Allan Axibal. He's one of the co-creators and cast members of Nigger Wetback Chink. That's right, you heard me say it. So, hi Allan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for being brave enough to say the title. It's always a tough one, but I'm always amazed when people can get through it. That's great.
So, the show, Nigger Wetback Chink. Which one are you again?
I went out for the first two, and they said that I didn't quite look the part, so they gave me the last one, and I was like, yeah, that's great.
So you were typecast. Yeah.
Well, I guess so. Not really, because I'm one of the co-creators, so I wrote the show. I helped write the show, and the parts that I am in the show are actually about my life, because the show is autobiographical.
Okay.
And it's about the. I know that these are three harsh words, but the show is about dealing with these words because we'd all been called them. I mean, I haven't been called the N-word or the other word, but I had been called a chink, and so we all wrote about how those words had affected our lives and tried to take the place of our cultural identity.
Right. So let's explain to people out there who don't know what this show is.
Right.
It's a theater performance.
It is a theater performance. It is a comedy, but it incorporates a lot of different elements. Like it is hip-hop, it's slam poetry, it's stand-up comedy, and it's monologues that really tie in together to try to tackle the notion of race itself and of also to debunk the stereotypes that are out there about people of color.
So this is kind of the heavy question up front.
Yeah.
How do you challenge racial stereotypes by actually bringing that up, like the title itself?
You're right, because you always get this question, especially when you're doing comedy. That's the danger of irony and metaphor. If you're making jokes that are racial jokes, are you really doing work to dispel the stereotypes, or in making a joke about it, do you uphold it? And we do believe that there is a fine line between racial humor and racist humor. And just because you have comedy that's about race doesn't mean that it is racist. And to answer your question more directly, how do you confront and debunk those stereotypes? One of the major things that we do to do that is that we show ourselves as three-dimensional human beings. We play ourselves, and we tell the stories about how these words have affected our lives. We give a little bit of education about the words and background. And in doing that, I mean, I think that it inherently does show something that's much departed from the stereotype that's out there and the two-dimensional representations that you generally see, especially if I think Asian Americans in film and in media where, I'm only the smart guy who knows math and fights kung fu.
It's a fictional character that somebody else wrote about.
Exactly.
In your case,
it's my life story.
Right, and that's truth.
Yes, except that it's not the life story in the terms of, we go chronologically about, oh, the burdens that Allan went to being Asian American. Not that at all.
In the context of race relations in the U.S.
Yes, it is a humorous take and of the things that, you go through, but being able to laugh about that because the humor, the laughter shows that you're over it, that you can move, you're in a place past it that you can move beyond.
Okay, so how long has this show been going on?
Wow, we started it at UCLA, and we got booked for a national tour right after. It's funny because we went from a UCLA show to doing a run in downtown Los Angeles to getting picked up to do our national tour in about 3 or 4 months.
That's amazing.
I know, and we got jobs right after, which is great because who gets to work right after college and who gets to work in theater?
Right.
And we've been touring for the past, I guess, almost 4 years now.
Well, tell me about that first performance. Before you got on stage, was there some kind of worry about how the audience was going to take the material?
Yes. We thought, well, you know what? We were confident in the material, that it was good, it was going to be funny and entertaining. We were not confident in the publicity. Who wants to see a show about race? Even if you call it Nigger Wetback Chink, it's going to be exciting and everyone wants to know what it is, but who's going to come out for that? And we were mostly surprised at the number of people who came out, especially for that first show. There was someone who tried to break the door handle backstage to get in. I mean, we had to turn away hundreds, and that's why it prompted us to do the next show, which again, we had to turn away a lot of people, and eventually got us to our national tour. And even after Don Imus, even after Michael Richards, those outbursts, we still have shows where we're in central Michigan and it fits like 1,200 people and they're turning away 400 people.
Wow. So you're getting these amazing turnouts.
There's a lot of hunger out there, I think, for this kind of dialogue and for people to be able to not only discuss the issues but to laugh at some of the ridiculous things that are going on out there in the world.